Hello and welcome to 5 Charts in 5 minutes. Alright, I'm really going to try and stick to 5 minutes tonight, so I've been rambling on a little bit in the last couple, which unlike me, haha. Alright, here we go. I've got a few that I've had requested off the Twitter this week, but I'm going to start with Woolworths. Now this is a daily chart, 12 months daily chart. Almost a quadruple bottom, some really strong support around this $26 to $26.25 mark. Really strong support there, so it's really hammering out a nice decent bottom along here. You would think if it breaks that, it's probably a screaming short. So from a daily view, and I haven't started the clock, so let me start that. From a daily view, there are certainly some really strong support along this trend line here. This bounce here was on its report. It reported on Friday. It actually dumped early, so if you're looking at that purely from a daily, you'd probably be looking at a break of this $27 recent resistance to confirm these little series of higher lows, and then hopefully some upside back up to at least the $28. Or we could whack a fib on this little range here. Let's do that. If you wanted to find some really short-term targets, you could put a fib on that range there. That's close enough. Interestingly, the 27 to 38 fib, 27.25, 27.50, a couple of fibs ahead. So that's some really short-term targets if you're looking at the fibs. But I want to go to the 1 minute chart. Get rid of this. I'm sure I'm already well over time. There's a 1 minute chart, and if you follow my Twitters, I'm sure you've seen me mentioning these break of initial range news plays. So as I said, it reported on Friday, opened at 26.43 and proceeded to dip. So it was a very weak open. I was actually long overnight, so I was a little bit concerned here and getting very close to pulling the trigger to sell. Bounced quite hard, and there's the break of the initial range there. So a break of a high of 26.46 and plenty of upside, pretty much high lows all day. Drifted off a little bit towards close. I've held Woolworths overnight, so hopefully I'll get some more upside on Monday. But yeah, the break of that initial range would have worked perfectly for the news plays, and it really is probably one of my strongest signals, this break of initial range news plays. So reporting season can be very lucrative for me. Right, next one I have a look at is CNA. Now what made this one really interesting, we're going to go to the 1 minute chart. That's a 1 minute chart. It's pretty hard to read there, but they were ex-div on Friday, and the dividend from memory was $1.38. They opened down, I think it was $9. I haven't got the figures right in front of me. Let's go to the end of day chart. There's the daily. It closed the day before at 121.28, opened at 113.25, so approximately $8 down with a $1.38 dividend. Spark picked that up on their biggest gainers or losers on open, which I look at religiously at the beginning of the day, and so I managed to pick up only 1,000. I got 1,000 at $113.25 it was from memory. Actually dipped even further down. If you're in the depths, you could have picked up a small few at $111 or something crazy. $113.25, and I sold those at $119. I think I almost got the top for those. I'm pretty sure it was 118.80 or 119, something like that. I sold them in 500 lots, I think, or I dripped them away. But it was a $6,000 trade on 1,000 shares. Obviously trading through CFDs, so a little bit of leverage there, but beautiful trade and a really good example of how Spark can be very handy indeed on open. Right, next one's WTF. And I almost called that what I normally do during the day, and you can work that out for yourself. I tend to have code names for some of these stocks, and WTFs is self-explanatory. Again, reporting play reported 2 days ago and was really strong on its report. So there it is on that 23rd of February, really strong. Had an inside day on Thursday and was really surprised that it actually was so weak on Thursday. We might go to, say, a 15-minute chart here. So there's the strength on the day it reported. An open low and was pretty well sideways range for the rest of the day on Thursday. And so that the targeted entry was a break of Thursday's high. Now, again, we could probably quickly put some fibs on this and just see if you were looking at the fibs whether it honoured them whatsoever on this range. And it basically did. It bounced pretty much right off the 50. So again, it's really interesting to keep an eye on those fibs. I didn't. I actually just had an alert set for the high of the day before, because these news plays do tend to run for a few days if they run. There's always exceptions, but they do tend to. So entry on the break of that high, which was 485, closed at 505, and was pretty stable up here. I've kept a few of those overnight as well. Obviously res at 504 the day before, so it needs to break through there. My stop will probably be break of $5, so there's a little bit of support there. I've sold half from memory, and I'll get rid of the rest if it breaks there. Okay, the very last one I wanted to show you is RHC. Now this is a 15-minute chart. This is just a little example of another news play scalp. Some you can ride for days, some just go so vertical it's worth locking in for me. And RHC was a perfect example. It reported on Thursday morning. That's the report there. So it gapped up and spiked, and then pretty well was sideways for the rest of the day. So my alert was set on the high of that day, which is 1755. Triggered Friday morning about 11:30. We'll go to a 1 minute chart. It's pretty obvious what happened here. Go to a 1 minute chart, 1755. I entered at 1760. Missed at 55. Only got 2000 filled, I think 2009 from exact memory. So I got in somewhere up here. It was probably a little bit high, really, what I paid, but I think the depth suggested it was worth entering. And I was out something like 27 seconds later at 1775 and 1776. And I'm just having a look at my course of trades. It was 28 seconds later. So that's a 15 to 16 cent scalp in 27 seconds. So as soon as it went that vertical, I just locked them in. There's no point holding on. And as you can see, it ended up dipping quite substantially. So very quick example of a quick intraday scalp based on those news play support and resistance levels. All right, that's all I've got for you tonight. I'll talk to you soon.